Hey everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of Linking to the Afterlife. This season will continue with our soul existence readings and connecting with your loved ones in spirit. We will also be adding a few organic chats with friends and episodes explaining more about communicating with the afterlife. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, see the show notes. Hey there, and thanks again for listening to my podcast. This is Donna. This week's episode has been almost 5 years in the making. That's right, I said 5 years. For the last 20 plus years, I've been experiencing some very interesting things. Interesting doesn't even begin to explain most of the things that have been happening to me. I've come to the understanding that until I've integrated these things completely, I couldn't really share them fully to all of you. I've certainly posted things and little quotes and things from Spirit, and certainly been very honest and forthright about my own growth here as a human. But even though I first recorded this back in 2019, I can see how it needed this long to simmer. And now it's time to spill over. So here we go. First, I want to talk about the term oneness. What does it mean, and how does that relate to the afterlife? Well, the oneness is a vibration basically of all things, love being the one thing that exists and permeates out of the oneness. When you live in moments, when you expand and receive all there is in each moment, you link to the oneness. The term itself, afterlife, really doesn't do justice to what there is other than this human existence. Afterlife is a human word, and again, its meaning seems to me to be more limiting than anything. But I'll continue to use it until we can figure out a more expansive one. I'd rather really just say oneness, meaning anything that happens outside what I can literally see in front of me here. This humanness we are in right now isn't really life. It's more of an in-between soul existences life. Again, life, like afterlife, is a human word. We made it up, but it doesn't really explain what we are doing here, a term to use for what we are doing here, living. We're living as humans, but we aren't really living as souls if we cannot expand in this oneness vibration, if we cannot feel this oneness vibration, and if we cannot exist in this oneness vibration. So let's say that all that exists is happening right now, right here in this moment. Everything that exists, from this world to otherworldly things to other galaxy things, everything is existing right here around us, but it's cloaked around us. This creates oneness. So as we are listening, sensing, thinking, and aware of it all, you are connecting to all the souls that exist here. And again, as Spirit said from the Spirit Dictionary, they are cloaked around us. They can see us. We can't literally see them unless we begin to connect in that way, the way I'm doing with my Spirit Voice eclipse readings. So this leads me to what this episode is about. In 2019, I experienced what I coined a rift in the shift. We'll call the shift the oneness consciousness. During that time, I felt very off balance for quite some time, and through a few readings, Spirit was able to explain more about what was happening to me, but not just to me, to all of us. Not only was this rift in the shift changing my perception of the oneness, it was changing many others who had chosen to take a peek inside the oneness and then chose to stay. It created a rift. After that, I received a spirit message as I was watching the show America's Got Talent. And we all know the phrase, change yourself, change the world. Well, before I talk about what Spirit said that day while I was watching that show, I want to tell you also about something that happened in 2016 when I was teaching class at the Vibrant Health Institute where I worked. I was teaching to a group of women that week. We had spent the whole week together. We had shared many moments with Spirit. It was a great week. In that moment, though, we were talking about something life altering. To be honest, I can't even remember what it was, but I sure remember what happened. I said to them, is anyone writing this down? Because this is really good. At that moment, I saw in my vision, in my head, thousands of souls enter the room. I wasn't sure if it was souls at that time from the human level, like where were they souls from human people living in this existence, or were they from the afterlife? I'll put that in quotes. As I continued speaking to this group and the group of souls that I saw, they were also listening. They had gathered to listen. When I was done, that group of souls left the room. They vaporized back to wherever they came from. I didn't know at the time. I remember also as I was explaining that incident to the group that week and groups that came in after, we were talking about how it felt like it was a tsunami of souls that had appeared to hear my talk. This tsunami of love that was entering. I also spoke to one of my teammates during the time I was teaching that class, and she was working in the store, which was right next to the room where I was speaking. And she said the front door had blown open during my talk, and she definitely felt a shift in the building at that time. I also understood that day how I could change the world. I knew that these souls would now go out and teach, absorb, fill the oneness, not really sure, with what I talked about that day. How would I ever see that come to fruition? How could I ever see where my seeds were planted and where they grew? How would I know? It's always been something I'd struggled with, and I'm sure many of you do also. We want to know we are making a difference. If we are doing the work, we want to know there is some reward, right? We can see what it does in us, but how is it changing the world? All right, let's go back to America's Got Talent. I'm going to answer that question now. On this episode, there was a young man that took the stage, and he was a singer. The judges asked him, "Why now? Why are you here now?" And he said, "Well, I would never have thought I could do this, but it's something I'd wanted to do for so many years. I just didn't have the courage. And then one day, I woke up and just said, I feel great. I'm going to apply to AGT, America's Got Talent." And he did, and he got on the show, and there he was. He sang beautifully. I cried. The audience went wild with applause. You can see the tears in their eyes. And in that moment, I heard Spirit say to me, "You did that." And I said back, "I did what?" And Spirit said, "You helped that young man get on that stage. Because of your work, that vibration went out into the world, and his soul brought it back to him. He was open, he had to be open, and look where he is now." So, just like at that day at the Institute, when all those souls left the room, I was a part of that. So I said to Spirit, "Okay, so I changed this one guy." And Spirit said, "Not just this one man. You changed everyone in that auditorium. Look at the joy he's brought them. And now those people will go out and change others in their lives." So you see how you can change the world now. You see how you, vibrating, expanding in oneness, can change the world. And sometimes you don't know where it's going to land or how the seeds will grow. Okay, so This whole thing we call life, it doesn't just include this life you see around you here in the physical world. There's so much more. So much more. Now I'm going to share the recording I did from 2019 where I talk about the rift and the shift. This is something that I coined, that phrase, the rift and the shift is something I said was happening. And it makes perfect sense. It still does now. There was a rift in the shift. This is the time right now to let go of everything you've held on to, knowing that you cannot make a mistake. The oneness is you. The oneness is all around you. Take comfort in that and stay in the presence of the love it and you embody. Enjoy the ride. Please rate and review this podcast wherever you listen. I certainly appreciate it. And here's what happened in 2019. Because of some things that have happened over the last few days, a couple of readings with clients where things have come through from Spirit that have confirmed what's been happening in the universe, in the oneness, in the shift of consciousness, that I felt the need to do this based on what's just happened and what's come through to me. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been feeling, and I've heard many people state that they've had some physical symptoms that have been going on in their body, kind of like a rushing sensation, things that have been feeling like you've been pushed forward and not understanding that the physical body is part of the shift also, so it will be pushed forward. So a couple weeks ago, I was hearing that in the oneness that we all are, and all of us are in there as souls and as one, that something happened where a force came and made its way into the oneness because it wanted to see what the oneness was about. It didn't come into the oneness to join the oneness and join us in the oneness. It came into the oneness to want to know what this oneness was about. And I'm calling that a rift in the shift. That there was this rift that came through the oneness. And Spirit was telling me that we didn't need to worry about it. That they were going to take care of fixing the rift. They were also telling me that what happened, whatever this was, this vibration, this energy that came into the oneness with us was going to stay. It chose to stay. It liked what it saw and it chose to stay. Now read between the lines here. It means that whatever was down here in the earthly plane saying, you want to call it negative, I won't call it that. But if you need to put a label on it, not such a great thing that we would want in the oneness. But as you know, that's what the shift in consciousness is about, allowing everyone, there are no labels anymore, allowing everyone to be in the oneness, everyone to recognize that we are all one. There is no difference, that there's only love. So what Spirit's telling me that they fixed the rift in the shift, and now everything's back to the way it was. So some of us, a lot of us, may have felt that rift that came through into the oneness, and we may have gotten shocked and said, oh no, what are we going to do about this? And Spirit said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. So they took care of the rift and the shift. Today, in doing a reading with someone, and she has allowed me to share this, thank you, what came through is what's happening now regarding our path. So if you viewed everything up to the last few weeks as we are the arrow in the bow, we are the rock in the slingshot, and we've pulled ourselves back a lot. We've pulled ourselves back, all these years, all these lifetimes, but we've never let go of ourselves. This is the time. This rift in the shift allowed us to let go. So what happened when we let go? When that rock let go, when that arrow let go, is setting us on a trajectory. What does that mean? It means things are moving faster now. It means no matter what you do in each day, it doesn't matter what you do each day or each moment, you are still going to be who you truly came here to be. You're still on the trajectory. So before, when it was only
still in our hand, the arrow and the rock from the slingshot, we had the ability to move it. We had the ability to figure out which way it was going to go, right? We'd move our front arm, or we'd move the rock or the arrow, right? Before the rift and the shift, we had the ability to change it. We don't anymore. We've let go now. So all of us that are doing that work of we let the rock go, we're now on that trajectory. It's not going to change. Whatever you do today, whether it's sit on the couch and watch TV all day, talk to your friend on the phone all day, go take a walk all day, or write the book, or meditate all day, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do today, it's not going to change who you're meant to be now. You're on the trajectory. Good word, right? So that makes me feel really good. That makes me feel, okay, I don't have to hold on to this belief that I'm meant to be something. I don't have to worry every day. Did I write enough today? Did I meditate enough today? I'm just going to go. I'm going now. No matter what I do, I'm not going to judge anymore myself. Dipping more into that non-duality, dipping more into there's only love, love everything. That makes me feel really good. I don't have to now let it go. I'm just really going to pick it up and let it down. I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to put it down. All that worry, all that fear, just going to put it down. I'm just going to physically in my mind take fear, take worry, take anxiety, take whatever, guilt, shame, denial, whatever opposite of love you think exists, and I'm just going to put it down.